Panel boards cannot be installed vertically, one on top of the other, in new installations. The National Electrical Code (NEC) mandates specific clearances and working spaces around electrical equipment, including panel boards, to ensure safety and accessibility for maintenance and repairs. The primary reasons for prohibiting vertical stacking are firstly, proper ventilation. Panel boards generate heat during operation, and adequate ventilation is essential to prevent overheating. Stacking panel boards restricts airflow, potentially leading to equipment failure and increased fire risk. Secondly, connections. Panel boards require sufficient space for making electrical connections to branch circuits in the main power supply. Stacking panels complicates wiring and makes it difficult to access and maintain connections safely. Thirdly, working space. The NEC requires specific working clearances in front of electrical equipment to allow electricians to safely perform maintenance, repairs, and inspections. These clearances include minimum distances from the equipment to walls, ceilings, and other obstructions. Stacking panel boards reduces the available working space, making it difficult and dangerous to work on the equipment. The NEC guidelines dictate the minimum dimensions for working space based on the voltage of the equipment and the presence of exposed live parts. For instance, NEC Section 110.26 specifies the requirements for working space about electrical equipment. This section details the minimum depth, width, and height of the working space. The depth of the working space varies depending on the voltage to ground and the presence of exposed live parts on one or both sides of the equipment. For example, for equipment operating at 150 volts or less to ground, a minimum depth of 3 feet is generally required where there are exposed live parts on one side and no live or grounded parts on the other side of the working space, or where there are exposed live parts on both sides but they are effectively protected by insulation. For equipment operating at higher voltages, such as between 151 volts and 600 volts, the required depth increases to 3 feet 6 inches or 4 feet, depending on the conditions. The width of the working space must be at least 30 inches wide or the width of the equipment, whichever is greater. This ensures that workers have enough room to maneuver and perform tasks safely. The height of the working space must be at least 6 feet 6 inches or the height of the equipment, whichever is greater, providing adequate headroom for workers. It is important to note that these are minimum requirements, and in some cases, additional space may be necessary to ensure safe and effective work practices. Additionally, the working space must be kept clear and unobstructed to allow easy access to the equipment. Obstructions such as storage boxes, tools, and other materials can impede access and increase the risk of accidents. Panel boards are designed to be mounted on a wall or other suitable structure with sufficient space around them for ventilation, connections, and working space. When installing a panel board, it's crucial to follow the manufacturer's instructions and the NEC guidelines to ensure proper installation and safe operation. If space is limited, consider using smaller panel boards or relocating the panel boards to a more suitable location. You could explore options such as using a wider but shorter panel board to meet the space requirements without stacking, or moving the panel board to another location in the building where sufficient clearance can be achieved. Consult with a qualified electrician to determine the best solution for the specific situation. They can assess the available space, electrical load requirements, and NEC guidelines to recommend the most appropriate panel board and installation method. Always prioritize safety and compliance with electrical codes when working with electrical equipment.